All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Monday edition Latte Wellness Group Talk with the Experts. Today, we're going to be talking about ways to manage or ease seasonal depression. We all get it, the right now, Monday, November 7th. Um, we just we just fell back, so the hour we I guess we gained an hour. And so now it's going to mean that it's going to get darker at night. And because it's going to get darker at night, now, that's when a lot of people's seasonal depression is kicking in. And so just to be an overview of what seasonal depression, what are the symptoms of seasonal depression? Essentially, here's are some signs, that you may have seasonal depression. And I'm not saying that if you meet them, you do. If you find out, if you do find that you are exhibiting some of these symptoms, please reach out to us, lattewellness.com, schedule us, and we will take, we'll have one of our trained professionals help you with this. So if you've been feeling feelings of depression that happen most of the day, every day, or in a seasonal pattern. So meaning in the wintertime, I notice that I get a lot of, I'm very, very depressed, either most of the day, every day, et cetera, et cetera. You having tiredness or low energy. You've lost interest in the things that you enjoy, changes of appetite or weight gain, or you finding yourself sleeping too much, right? And so they say roughly about 4 to 6% of people in the U.S. suffer from seasonal depression, and maybe 20% of the people have a mild form of it. We call it like the winter blues. Basically, when the days get shorter and colder, you start not really being yourself, right? And so if you find, again, the number one thing that I would say, if you find yourself, please talk to our professionals or talk to a trained mental health professional who can diagnose it. The actual diagnosis is called seasonal affective disorder, otherwise known as seasonal depression. And those are the symptoms. I'll let the experts talk. Anything that you all want to add in terms of symptoms that you all are seeing that I haven't really talked about?
Okay, so I have seasonal affective disorder. I was diagnosed with it back in 1994. And um, typically, and I should have mentioned this is a symptom, sort of, or onset information. For women, seasonal affective disorder will tend to start about a year after a young girl reaches menarche. So after she's had her first menstrual cycle, that's when seasonal affective disorder can kick in for her. And that was the case for me. I was 14 when it started, and it went undiagnosed until I was 22. Um, I was part of a study at the National Institutes of Health. They had a seasonality study, and they gave all of the test subjects a light box. And the light box is full spectrum light at 10,000 lux, LUX. It is the power of basically the sun at sunrise, but it's compressed and condensed. And I had to sit in front of it for an hour in the morning and an hour in the evening. It was about like a foot away from my face. And at 1 minute intervals, I had to look directly into the light for 10 seconds. And I've been using light therapy since 1994. Currently, I use a light visor, and I'll share it with you. The light visor, this one is stronger. It's 12,000 lux, and I wear it twice a day. at 30-minute intervals because it's much stronger than the big ginormous box that I used to have. This is great because I can cook, prepare breakfast, lunch, do my daily routine while I'm wearing the light therapy. And back in 1994, our light boxes were provided by a company called the Sunbox Company. I'll put the info in the chat. The Sunbox Company is in Frederick, Maryland. They're not a fly-by-night company because they were around before the internet even was a thing, and they still exist. They have a great website. They have desktop models. They have standing floor models. They have models that are set on timers so that you can make it slowly turn on for when you wake up in the morning. So that's one whole piece, light therapy. Also, there's something called Levity, Levity. It is an acronym. There was a study done over 20 years ago with these nurses that were secluded at a particular school up north. And I guess they were all depressed because it was dark and cold at nursing school. And so they found that doing light therapy was helpful, but they also included exercise and vitamin therapy. That's where we get the letters in the acronym Levity from, Levity, light, exercise, vitamin therapy. And so ideally you would do your exercise in the morning light or in your, while using your light therapy. And then for the vitamins, they stressed using B complex vitamins, selenium, and zinc, which you can all find in a multivitamin. So I did that too for a while without light therapy when my light box broke and I didn't have the opportunity to switch out the bulbs. So levity. Also, living closer to the equator helps because you're closer to the sun when it's at its strongest. If you're living, very far north of the equator, you're going to be more depressed. There's a higher incidence of depression for folks that live further north of the equator. So that's pretty much all I have. Thank you.
Oh wow, thank you, Chelsea. That was amazing. Thank you for your transparency. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for that wisdom.
Mhm.
That wisdom.
You're welcome.
I think it's going to help a lot of people, and it's actionable, right? You weren't joking. You weren't you weren't joking. It's something that people can do. And so to summarize, you can have light therapy. You can get like a light box or that light visor.
Mhm.
I like that light visor.
Oh,
Um,
one word of caution, the light visor is obsolete. That you can't find it anymore.
not
So
even,
say again.
not even on Amazon.
Maybe you could try, but the company that built the light visor piece, there it was a couple of doctors up in Maine, and they made it, they created it, and they sold it through the Sunbox Company here in Maryland. And it was good for a while because I bought mine in 2007. And the light part itself, see the little bulbs here? This will work forever. But the charger that you have to plug it in with every night, that only has like, I don't know, 25,000 charges in it. And once the charger is dead, you have to essentially buy an entirely new light fixture and charger. And when I bought the new set, the light would not work at all, but the charger worked. So I just use the new charger with the old light. But once this new charger dies out, I'm not certain that I will ever be able to get um, a new charger again, because that the company that created this, I think they're kind of fizzling out, and the Sunbox company no longer sells this on their website. You won't find this light visor on their website anymore. So, but yeah, you might find it somewhere else. I'm not really sure. Sorry for that long explanation.
No, I was looking up Amazon. All right, Shantae, you had your hand up.
Oh yeah, I wrote in the chat, but thank you for sharing. And I was wondering if you can get a light like through insurance or FSA or something like that.
That's a good question. I think what Sunbox said in the past was, oh, if you can get a prescription from the doctor, then I think they would work with it. But I've never obtained a prescription from a physician. I just feel like it's a lot of red tape. And so I would always buy one. And the prices range depending on what kind of model you get, from like the $300 range to maybe the $500 range. But they last a long time. So you kind of, if you think about whether you're using light therapy or medication, it's pretty cheap. You know, I've had this one since 2007, a very long time. And I've been doing light therapy since 1994. So I would say it's cheaper in the long run, and definitely worth it. Did that answer your question, Shantae?
Yeah, thank you, and thank you for making that comparison to the whole medication management, because that is a big factor also.
Yeah. Oh yeah. And then FSA, is that the like the personal savings account? Is that what
Yeah,
you're?
yeah.
Yeah. Anything, if you use your FSA with the card, like a debit card type deal, then you can spend that money the same way you would any other debit card. So yeah, that'll work.
Mhm. And you can get some light therapy from Amazon for a little bit cheaper, actually. Seeing some for like 20, $30. I don't know. I don't know how effective they are.
Yeah, I would be cautious. I
Yeah.
tried a light box from another company, and it wasn't as good.
Mm,
That's all I can say. The light has to be refracted,
mm,
and the surface of the light boxes that come from the Sunbox company, they are refracted light. If it's just that flat covering, it doesn't really shed the light the way it's supposed to, and it can be unpleasant to the eyes. But I mean, people can try. You can try different things at different price points and see what works for you.
mm,
And maybe the technology has gotten better, over time. But ask, is the light refracted? Is it 10,000 lux? At least 10,000 lux? Ask them these kinds of questions.
mm. Okay. Yeah. All right. That's good.
Okay.
Let's see here. Anyone else on these strategies for dealing with the seasonal depression? Okay. Um, as Chelsea said, I think that combination of the light therapy, um, with the exercise, and the vitamins, it's actually a really, really good strategy for people to yeah, the levity, light, exercise. Yeah, I think that's amazing. I like it. Um, I think it'll be very, very helpful for a bunch of people, struggling with it. Um, let's see here. Anything else that people want to add in regards to this subject, this topic?
I guess I had a question. So other than the fact that seasonal affective disorder, of course, usually typically comes around this time of year in the fall and winter because days are getting shorter, and how exactly is it different from, I guess, like major depressive disorder, besides the fact that it comes during a specific time of year?
I think that's the difference, is that you're experiencing these symptoms seasonally, where major depression is kind of like it doesn't have that seasonality to it. So like, at least from my understanding, it's kind of like every time that the seasons change, or you're going into like the shorter days, you start noticing yourself, experiencing these symptoms without anything else going really, without other external things going on, right? It's just because of the fact that it's getting colder, it's getting darker sooner, et cetera, et cetera. So I think that seasonality versus the major depression is, it can occur. It's not necessarily a seasonality component of it. It's just it can occur, throughout the year. Yes. I mean, and please, somebody talk. Michelle.
Chelsea, it's me. Hi, Chelsea. Thank you for making that connection with the female menses. I had no knowledge about that. I'm getting more and more clients who are suffering with hormonal imbalances too. So that was very helpful. Another thing for me to screen for. Thank you.
You are so welcome, Michelle. And one more thing about to add on to what you were saying, Frank, about the seasonality of it. Yes, you're absolutely right. The onset is fall and winter. But I have found that because I'm inside, or have been for several years, most of the time, all year long, working and not getting the sunlight that I would like to get outside, I still do my light visor pretty much all year long, just to keep down, all of those symptoms of depression. Because even though it's sunny outside, inside, if you don't have proper lighting, it's going to have the same effect as if it were fall or winter. So people do have to be mindful throughout the year, if they're not getting enough sunshine.
Mm. Melissa, do we answer them? Did we answer your questions?
Yeah, I think so. The other part of, besides like the difference between major depression and the seasonal depression, was also, it seems like a lot of the techniques and strategies to kind of like cope with it and try to help with it are very similar to each other, as far as like healthy diet, exercising, staying away from alcohol, being social and going out. It seems like those are a lot of things that can also be helpful towards general depression or major depression as well. So there's a lot of similarities between the two.
Mm. I think so as well. And I think the strategies, strategies can be used for all of them as well. Yeah, definitely. Thank you on that one. I was looking at, they also have dawn simulators as well. Basically, these devices are alarm clocks, but rather than waking you up abruptly with a beeping or loud music, they produce light that gradually increases in intensity, just like the sun. Right. The best ones used for the full spectrum light, which is closest to natural sunlight. And researchers found that dawn simulators were as effective as light therapy for people with the seasonal affective disorder. Wait, did I see that right? Yes, seasonal affective disorder, or the what we call it, the winter blues. Another one is prioritizing social activities. You know, in the wintertime, it gets cold. Some of us, you know, being social is not really the top of our list, right? We kind of just want to be inside all day. And so I would say that in actuality, if you are suffering from any seasonal depression, try as much as possible to incorporate the social activities. Anyone else? Any thoughts? Right. Also, aromatherapy as well. You know, essential oils for therapeutic purposes can also help. In one study, it indicated that it could lessen the symptoms of depression. Right. And so it says that the reason why the aromatherapy can also help is that the essential oils potentially influence the area of the brain that's responsible for controlling moods and the body's internal clock that influences sleep and appetite. Right. And so the research for using the essential oils is limited, but when paired with a soothing activity, it could also, you know, help as well. Mm-hmm. Also, sticking to a schedule. A lot of times with your seasonal, with the seasonal depression, you have trouble sleeping at night or getting up in the morning. So maintaining a regular schedule, you know, it's critical to get that sleep. You know, trying to get in that good night of sleep, and also just your schedule. You know, exposure to light, consistent and predictable times, right? And eating at regular intervals can help you avoid overeating. All right. So, any thoughts on that?
The part on aromatherapy is very interesting. I never heard of that, how aromatherapy will impact that same part of the brain that controls mood. So that's pretty awesome. Thank you.
Absolutely. Yes, Christabel.
Yes, so I was going to say, just being intentional and listening to your body. Pay attention to the symptoms you are getting. Probably you were never diagnosed, but just listening to your body and paying attention would help you know if there's something going on and you should seek help.
I totally agree. Mm-hmm. And if it's practical, you know, taking a vacation or staycation. Right? Again, maybe in some professions it's not practical, or when we're traveling around the holidays, you know, that travel can get a little bit hectic as well. So balancing it out. The research also says consider avoiding alcohol. Right? When you're feeling down, you're you're more likely to drink alcohol, but drinking actually can further your depressive symptoms. And then it creates a downward spiral. So if you find yourself drinking more than usual or taking larger amounts of alcohol, you could, start asking yourself, why do you think you're drinking more? And if you do have a drinking problem, talk to a professional, especially an addictions counselor, to get some help with that. Another tip: keeping a journal. Right, writing down your thoughts can have a positive effect on your mood. It can help you get some negative emotions out. It says, according to the University of Rochester Medical Center in New York, journaling helps by prioritizing your life problem and identifying your depression triggers, as well as helps lift up your mood. Include your thoughts, feelings, and concerns when you journal. A good time to do this is at night so that you can reflect on everything that's happened within the past 24 hours. All right. Thank you all. This has been Latte Wellness Group Expert Therapist discussion and talking about relevant mental health topics. Thank you all. Take care. Have a blessed week.